met him. Tom sat next to me in a class, and he said, "What are you doing for a thesis?" And I said, "I don't know, I'd like to do something on Pennsylvanian rocks." He says, "Oh, I know a great place where they haven't really done much on Pennsylvania. It's in the Elk Mountains of Colorado." I said, "Where's that?" I'd come via, Chicago, Midland, Texas, Casper, Wyoming, to Boulder.
All glamorous places.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Midland, Texas is the best.
Could have been the permanent base. Scenic.
At any rate, so Tom said, "Well, you ought to come out to the Elk Mountains and work on your thesis. Maybe Dr. Walker," he was our teacher, Redhead Ted Walker.
Yes.
Yeah, a very famous guy in Colorado geology. At any rate, he was willing to sponsor a thesis in the Elk Mountains. So I came out here in the summer of 1962 with Tom, and he showed me around a little bit and wore me out, of course, as you all know. Even then, when I was young, I couldn't keep up with him.
Yep.
And hardly anybody could that I know of. Dwayne usually would keep up with him. He's pretty good at it.
Close.
But at any rate, I came out here and I spent 4 seasons, summer field seasons in the Elk Mountains, hiking around, and sometimes Tom and I would get together. Our most famous trip was a horseback trip, starting in Schofield Park and going over Hasley Pass with a group of tourists whose guide had gotten drunk the night before and asked us to lead. And so what was even funnier was in the morning we got up and there's Carl Turney, the guy's name. He was this Schofield Guide Service, and he had a bunch of horses there, 10 or 15, and he had a partner, and his partner brought him in dead drunk at midnight up to Schofield Park. He was staying in a cabin there, by the way, and Tom and I were camped right next door to him. So he comes to us about 8 o'clock in the morning and says, "Can you guys help me out? I can't do this trip today." He said, "Tom, here, I'll saddle your horse for you." He puts a saddle on a great big stallion. He says, "Go get the rest of the horses. They're out there somewhere." This is a true story, honestly. So Tom gets on this horse like this with his eyes wide open, and the horse bolts and takes off, and he's just barely hanging on. And oh my God, we're never going to see Tom again. And what happened was, in about 5 minutes, he comes back just like Roy Rogers, John Wayne leading the horses. They all came back. Well, I said, "Tom, how did you do that?" He said, "I didn't do a thing." The horse found the rest of the horses, went around, and they all came back up. So we saddle up and we go up to Hasley Pass there about noon, and we had a kid along who was an assistant. Tom had gotten a scholarship to get a field assistant, but the kid couldn't keep up with Tom, so Tom gave him to me. Naturally. So the kid got a hold of Carl's horse somehow, and he gets to the top of Hasley Pass. It's really hot by this time, and he takes his canteen out of the saddlebags, takes a big swig like that, and then spits it all out. It was vodka. Carl knew how to cure a hangover. Anyway, we went down into Lead King Basin and then up Crystal Canyon, past the Devil's Punch Bowl, and came back, and everybody lived. I don't know how we did. That was one of my most memorable experiences with Tom Prather. After a while, I think I want Doug Holtzman here to give a story about his trip with Tom too. But any rate, as you know, what happened, we came here what happened was in 1965 there was a job opening at Western, and of course we both knew about Western because we'd come up to this area, and we knew a little bit about the college, although we really hadn't made any contacts. If I had known about Dwayne being here, we probably wouldn't have come.
We all feel that way.
He was already here, by the way. Dwayne came in the fall of 1961, right?
62.
62.
Pre-dam.
Yeah. That's pre-dam.
That's pre-dam.
Well, it's also pre-Cambrian.
You know, Bruce, if I can interject, Tom told me, and I think he told you, that he was out on the Colorado River trip. and D.H. Cummins, he had put his name in for the job, and D.H. was the interim president, and D.H. kept calling him, and of course Tom was out of sight. He was in the Colorado River. So Tom, I think, was at the Denver Federal Center, and the phone rang. He had gotten back from the river trip, and it was D.H. Cummins. And D.H. said, I've called you about 10 times. This was going to be the last time I called you, and if I could get a hold of you, we're going to hire the other guy. So that's how Tom got here. The last phone call.
So anyway, actually, I was originally hired to teach principles of physical science because that was a required course. Some of you may remember it. It was, I got rid of it when I got in the curriculum committee in 1975 myself.
Here.
At any rate, it was a mandatory course, but there was a catch. You could take geology instead of physical science.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and so students started flocking to us. Within a few years, Tom and I we started out with 10 or 11 majors. By the time you graduated, Connie, I think we had 30 or 40, maybe even more. And then by 75, we had over 100. All because we could get people out of physical science for it. We had a lot of fun. We did stuff that probably wouldn't go anymore, as a matter of fact.
The weenie wagons, maybe?
Oh, the weenie wagon trip.
A few things extracurricular.
Was there any drinking on these geology field trips?
One time, the guy who was the business manager, Herb Doricott, called me into his office one time. He says, Bartleson, I know you're doing a good job, but please take the whiskey bottles out of the vans when you
Tequila.
You're right, it was usually Jose Cuervo.
Back then. We've all graduated.
Terrible
That's
stuff.
fine.
It's not called tequila for nothing. But anyway, we had a great ride. The two of us, and over the time we had several different people. The infamous Fred Minzer was here for 10 years. Mary Lou Bevere was here for 5 years, and then
Siddhakar?
yeah.
Yeah, he was there.
Pardon me.
Siddhakar, the Indian guy, the mineralogy guy. Wasn't that his name?
Menzer.
No,
Fred
no,
Minzer.
it was before Menzer. The Siddhakar? The guy from Egypt?
Oh, Vijay Sataskar. He was here.
Siddhakar.
He was just here for a couple of years.
Oh.
We had a few of those.
But I had him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was pre-Menzer. And at any rate, I guess you know, time went on and we got old. But we kept on
No,
plugging
you
away at
didn't
it.
get old. We never thought you were old.
Yeah.
They kept going through people until they hired me.
Yeah, well, anyway, Alan came in 1985, and he actually lasted longer than both Tom and I did. He got 35 years.
No way.
Wow.
I mean,
Alan.
but not Wayne.
I was in geology.
No one's going to beat Dwayne's record.
He's a vampire.
Anyway, Doug, would you mind telling about your
While we're here, to Tom.
to Tom?
Yeah.